Hi, my name is Dr. Arnold. I'm a dentist in Preston, Lancashire, and today I want to talk about the news that has recently come out, the NHS workforce plan that was launched, where the PM, Rishi Sunak, was talking about getting more access to dental care under the NHS. Now, there are a lot of thoughts going around about this. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Should it be done? And I just want to explore some of the sides to this. So, if we look at the current landscape, there is a lack of access to dental care, mainly within the NHS. There are dental deserts. People are struggling to get a practice that will take them on for NHS treatments. And people are having to resort to even DIY approaches to dental care. So this is a need to be able to have more dental care accessible to the population. So you can see why there's a need to come up with a solution. And the solution that has now been suggested, it's not yet been implemented, it's suggested, is that when dental graduates qualify, they have to have a tie-in period to working within the NHS. Now, how many years that would be, this wasn't given in the details, and the fine details of how that would work contractually, that hasn't been said. But Rishi Sunak just said that there'll be likely a tie-in period after you graduate to work within the NHS. Now, I can see some positives with this. One of the positives is it would give a big surge in terms of workforce available to service NHS contracts when it comes to people seeing an NHS dentist. For dental graduates, it means that they don't have to worry about having to attract patients to treat them privately, and they can just focus on really improving their skill set, their confidence as newly trained dentists. So, there are some positives. Even for dental practice owners who have NHS contracts, they'll have a bigger pool of newly qualified dentists to pick from to be able to service their dental contracts, to achieve these UDAs, these units of dental activity. But when I look at this, it's a short-term view on things, because you are still going to have the same issues that the NHS is not an attractive prospect for dentists to be working in. So even if you tied in dentists for, let's say, 5 years to work for the NHS, once that 5 years is over, those dentists would then leave to work privately. And why I say that is because we're seeing the evidence of that right now, dentists leaving the NHS to work privately. So it's not going to be getting to the root of the problem. The funding for NHS dental care only covers 50% of the population. So we're still going to have that issue where the amount of funding available to cover the whole population for NHS dentistry is not even there. So even if every single dentist said today they want to provide care under the NHS, there would still be an access problem, because once the budget for NHS dental care is completed and fulfilled, patients wouldn't be able to be seen under the NHS. So there needs to be more funding to even cover the whole population for NHS dental care. If we're looking at it this way, that dentists owe it to the NHS, to the country, to work under the NHS when they qualify, then are we going to apply the same logic to other professions? Are we going to say that if you train in architecture, that you owe it to the country to not work privately, but to work under government contracts? Are we going to say that if you did, let's say, a degree in cooking, or if you did a degree in law, that you've only got to do serve government contracts, or work for the national service in some way, shape or form, and that you can't do your own independent thing privately? So it would seem a bit odd to really single out dentists in this sort of way. So we need to look at this across the board, that if we're saying to aspiring dentists that in order to get your degree funded, you must work within the NHS. If that's going to be applied across all other disciplines, then that's fair enough. Aspiring dentists would go into it knowing what it means. But from what I can see, it's not going to be a permanent solution to this problem. That's a long-term problem within the country, which is making dentistry attractive for dentists to work in, to serve the public under the NHS contract. Once we can tackle that, then you'll have a workforce that won't want to leave the NHS in terms of servicing the NHS contracts, and you'll get more accessibility for patients to access an NHS dentist. So it'll be interesting to hear your thoughts on whether you think this is a good idea. Is this a bad idea? Can there be a hybrid? Let us know in the comments what you think. I've seen some of your comments already, and people have very contrasting views on this. So I'll be interested to hear what you've got to say in regards to this, and I'll see you guys at the next video.